All right, so the second assignment for this lesson is brainstorming. And most people know what brainstorming is. Hopefully you guys have done some sort of brainstorming session throughout your educational careers. But this is more of a more defined, more systematic approach to it. And I don't want systematic to sound like a very limiting term used because it's really not. This is just kind of a guide to help you with the project. But anyways, excuse me. Brainstorming is a process used to find a solution to a problem by collecting ideas without regard or feasibility, which occurs usually in a group of people brought together for that specific purpose. Just remember that it's important to record all ideas, no matter what they are. So some of the rules for brainstorming that I like to teach to the kids is absolutely no criticism allowed. You're working for quantity, not necessarily quality, and we want to welcome piling on, and I'll explain what that is along with a free-for-all. I'll explain more about what that is as we go. So typically what happens is we tend to criticize what people say. We automatically tend to evaluate each person's ideas, and that includes your own. So in this particular project, you're doing this by yourself because I didn't set it up as a group project, but you'll find yourself criticizing your own ideas as you think of them. And obviously you'll do it with others, and we want to avoid that. And we want to, if we were working in a group, we would want to allow all members to contribute. So again, I really want to emphasize the fact that to avoid criticizing even your own ideas. So what we're doing is we're going for quantity, and I want you guys to experience what's called the brain drain. And in order for you to get your innovative and your creative ideas out on paper, you have to experience this phenomena called the brain drain. So the more ideas you can generate, the more likely you are to come up with quality ideas. And what I mean by this brain drain, what it is you come up with an idea for a project, or a solution, or you're just generating ideas in general, and your head starts getting into this buzz, and you start thinking in all these different directions, and then you might have a good idea, but it may not completely fit with the solution of the project or fit underneath the constraints and limitations you have for the project. But it doesn't matter. You should write that down, and it doesn't matter what you come up with. So you could be thinking about designing a locker mate, and somehow it turns into talking about unicorns or some other type of video game that has absolutely nothing to do with this, but that's what's on your mind because your mind is jumbling around and it's going all over the place. But it doesn't matter. You just write it down, and that kind of helps pull it out. So you've got all these things flooding around in your brain, all these ideas jumping around, and honestly 99% of them probably aren't very feasible. Obviously unicorns have nothing to do with designing a locker mate, but hey, it might have something to do with the design. Maybe you're designing it for females or for people in general who like unicorns, and you want to put that into design. I don't know, it doesn't matter. You just write it down. And it's anything that comes to mind. Like, it can be words, phrases, entire sentences, an entire idea, an overall concept, or a very specific detail. It doesn't matter. You just write it down. So the more the better. Piling on is typically in a group. It occurs when one member's idea produces a similar idea in somebody else, or they add on top of it. So you're piling on top of one idea. So you can get 5 or 6 pages of notes and ideas all have to do with building off of one idea that somebody came up with. And that could just be one particular idea. And from there you might stretch that out into a more well-developed concept, or you might branch off and go in a completely different direction of ideas. It doesn't matter. You're brain draining. You're draining all these ideas and these thoughts out of your head, and basically clearing out the room or your head, so that you can generate these very creative and innovative ideas. Think of it like you have a storage closet somewhere, and there's one particular thing that you're trying to find, but instead of kind of searching around and digging underneath all of this stuff and getting confused and lost because you're in a pile of crap, if you just take one thing out at a time and just slowly remove everything from that room, eventually you're going to find whatever it was you're looking for. So that's the idea behind this. You're kind of draining it all out and allowing yourself to really focus in and clear out the clutter. And we also want to allow for a free-for-all. And it like I said, it can be anything. So any outrageous, humorous, or seemingly unimportant idea should be recorded. Typically, it makes the whole session fun. It really helps you like let loose and get your creative side active. And that's what's kind of hard for some people. And I found this in class, is some kids won't participate because they don't think their ideas are good. I guess they don't want to speak because someone else is going to criticize what they have to say, or it might honestly have nothing to do with the project. But hey, it doesn't matter. You got to clear it out of your head so that you can focus and really help to organize. So what I want to see is look back at your design brief that you created based on the problem statement that I gave, or the problem that I gave you guys on the defining the problem assignment. And then I want you to create just at least 1 page worth of brainstorming notes. And it can honestly be in a list format. It doesn't matter. Just fill out a page worth of ideas that you could come up with, and it can be completely random stuff. I mean, you might be sitting at your computer drinking a beer or a glass of wine or whatever, and you want to write something about that because that's what's in your head right now. It doesn't matter, as long as you're clearing out your head, you're draining all the clutter out of your mind, so that you can allow your brain to focus and come up with some creative idea. And that's what's awesome about it, because it's common for some of the most off-the-wall ideas to generate a solution for a problem. So it might not be what you think is your first idea, the first thing that pops into your head as a solution for a project. It might be something else that has nothing to do with it, but you didn't allow yourself to criticize that idea. You put it down on paper and you step back and say, wow, okay, unicorns might have some form of serious inclusion to the solution to this problem. So hopefully it's not too overwhelming, and it might make sense. If it doesn't, again, feel free to send me some comments or emails, whatever. Get a hold of me, and I'll try and help explain it a little bit better if you need to. So for your final assignment, I guess, for this project is to come up with 1 page worth of notes that I want to call the brain drain.